Welcome. Today, if it will stay on the right page, we're going to be talking about surface area of a cylinder. Last time we did the volume of a cylinder. Today we're going to do surface area. Surface area, the first thing I want to emphasize is a cylinder, again, looks like kind of a can, right? Has two circular bases, has the top of the can and the bottom of the can, right? So we have this top can, and it's supposed to be a cylinder, which means it's going to be a circular top, and the bottom will be circular. And then it has the side, which if you were to cut open the can and lay it out, it's like a rectangle that's been rolled into a tube. So the side of the can is a rectangle that's rolled into a tube, and then we have the top and bottom. So to find the surface area, all we need to do is find the area of these two circles, which in our formula, our surface area, we have two circles, the top and the bottom, and the area of a circle is pi r squared. And then we add it to the area of the side, which is that rectangle that's rolled into a tube. Now the rectangle has a height, or one side of its length, its height is the same as the cylinder. That's this h here. And then the other side of the rectangle, we maybe call that the length of the rectangle, is the same as the circumference of the circle. Because if you think about it, this side of the rectangle needs to roll around the base of the can, so that ends up being the circumference. And the circumference of this circle is 2 pi r. So we get this formula for surface area being the two bases, or the two circles, 2 pi r squared, plus the side, which is the circumference, 2 pi r, times the height, h. So let's do an example of that. Okay, so here we have a cylinder. It has a radius of 2, and it has a height of 8. And it says to use 3.14 for pi. So I take my formula, which just remember, this is two circles of pi r squared size, and the side, which is the circumference, 2 pi r, times the height. So let's see how that works into the formula. So what I've done is, first thing is I keep this 2, right? I have two circles. My pi here is 3.14, and then my radius, which is right here, my radius is 2. So I put a 2 in for r, and I'm going to square it. So when I do the 2 squared, that gives me 4, times this 2 is 8, times 3.14 is 25.12. Make sure you do all this multiplication before you do the addition. Now let's look at the second part of our expression here. Again, I need the circumference, or the length around the edge of the thing, and that's going to be the 2 pi r. Again, r is 2, so I put a 2 right here. So I have my 2, my pi, which is 3.14, and then I have my r, which is 2, and then my height right here, which is 8. I plug into the h right there, which is 8. So then with a calculator, I just use a calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 2 times 8 is this 100.48. So again, make sure you do all your multiplication before you do this addition. I get the 25.12 when I multiply all this together, and I get 100.48 when I multiply all this together, and then I add those together, and I get that the surface area of this is 125.6 square feet. Very simple process. The hardest problem you'll get probably is where they give you the surface area and they want you to find the height of it. So they don't give you the height, but they do give you the surface area. So I'm going to use the exact same formula. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in my surface area. Well, what's my surface area? It gives it to me. It's right here. So what I'm going to do is replace this surface area with 2,113.44. And then again, I'm going to take this 2 pi r squared. So I'm going to do, there's my 2, there's my pi. Now my radius, it gives me the radius right here in my diagram. So for that r, I'm going to plug in a 14. And so that r is 14. Now I'm going to make sure I square the 14 first. Don't times first. Do your exponent first. So I'm going to do 14 squared on my calculator times it by 3.14, times it by 2, and all of this becomes this 1,230.88. Now I'm going to move on to the second part of the expression, the area of the side here. Now again, I'm going to do 2 pi r, 2 times, there's my pi. Now my radius again is still 14, so I'm going to plug a 14 in there for r right there, and that r is 14. And then I don't know the height. The height is my unknown, so I leave it as an h. So again, with my calculator, I just multiply 2 times 3.14 times 14. So all of this here becomes the 87.1.92 times h. So I left the h. Now, the next step is I need to minus off this 1230.88 from both sides of the equation. And I'm going to do that over here, minus the 1230.88. I wrote those really small, but you get the idea. I'm minusing both those off. That cancels. That minus and that gives me the 1,582.56, equaling this 87.92 times 8. Because remember, times h. I couldn't add these, right? I had to minus that over. Now I'm going to divide by 87.92. When I take this 1,582.56 divided by 87.92, I find my h is 18 yards. So that's going to be the hardest thing you'll see in today's homework. If you do have any questions, please log on at 1 o'clock for my online office hours to get help, or email me and I can set up a time earlier in the day to work with you one-on-one.